This is Smart Pizza, and in today's hour-long episode, I'll show you the most venomous and dangerous sea creatures of our planet, the dark side of dolphins that'll surprise you, incredible fights of the biggest whales, dangerous sharks and venomous fish, creatures that use electricity to eliminate opponents, unexpected and creepy marine finds. This and much more awaits you in this episode. Let's go! Red lionfish. Nature knows how to deceive like no other. There are many amazing and beautiful animals in the world which are in fact real monsters, and the red lionfish is one of them. On the face of it, this is a very beautiful creature that you want to swim with and want to take home and put in an aquarium to admire all the time. But in fact, it's a very dangerous predator. Behind the fan-shaped fins of this fish, venomous needles are hidden. This beauty is very ferocious and attacks without a second thought.
3.
Moreover, this fish can easily swallow a fish up to 2/3 of its own length. Its potential victims are both sea dwellers and humans. If a swimmer picks up a fish or disturbs it, a very painful prick will follow. The sharp pain is followed by a deterioration that ends in paralysis of the skeletal and respiratory muscles, which can eventually cause death. As if these facts aren't enough, so the red lionfish also swim wherever they want, without fear of anyone. So you can come across this beautiful monster in the most unexpected place. By the way, the red lionfish is the very animal that can literally drive out other sea creatures. For example, in 2019, there was a whole invasion of these fish off the coast of Lebanon, which made local sea creatures disappear for a while. Fortunately, the invasion was dealt with, but the red lionfish caused quite a bit of havoc. Greater Weaver. We got another creature with a beautiful name. The greater weaver, or Trachinius draco, belongs to the most dangerous inhabitants of the Black Sea. And not only the Black Sea ones, these creatures swim in the coastal waters of the European Atlantic and in the Mediterranean Sea. And no, the danger lies not in the fact that this creature is able to spit fire as dragons of legend. Everything is simpler. Its spines are equipped with venomous glands. The sting of these spines is extremely painful for humans. It causes swelling and necrosis of the affected area. As a rule, there's no fatal outcome, but in some particularly severe cases, paralysis and respiratory disorders are observed, which may well be the cause of death of the swimmer. Pufferfish. Next up is not just any species, but a whole family of dangerous fish. Pufferfish mainly live in the tropics, but sometimes are found in the temperate zone. The main feature of these sea creatures is the ability to inflate and turn into a huge ball at the sight of danger. This state makes pufferfish almost invulnerable. Even if a predator swallows an inflated pufferfish, it will most likely die. But pufferfish don't need to be inflated to finish someone off. Normal fish and even dead fish are dangerous because many species of pufferfish are extremely poisonous. Toxins are contained in the skin, peritoneum, and some internal organs of the fish. The most dangerous of these is tetrodotoxin, which is the strongest natural nerve poison. Once in the digestive tract, it causes pain, convulsions, and is usually fatal. This does not, however, prevent Japanese chefs from making fugu. Properly cooked, fugu is completely safe and delicious. But the slightest mistake by the chef can lead to the fact that the dinner of a restaurant visitor will be the last in their life. Because of this terrible reputation, many people think that pufferfish are the most poisonous fish in the world. But this isn't true. Stonefish are much more dangerous. Most scientists agree that the stonefish is the most venomous fish in the world. Fortunately, it leads a relatively peaceful life and doesn't throw itself at anyone. Otherwise, it'd be very scary to go to sea. Basically, the fish lies on the seabed, masquerading as a stone, hence the name of the venomous creature. And this is also its danger. It's very difficult to notice the stonefish because it can easily be confused with an ordinary reef. Divers or swimmers can push away from the stonefish, thinking it for a stone, and in this case the horror begins. On contact, the stonefish picks up very sharp and strong dorsal fin spines, which instantly pierce the leg. The principle is simple. The harder the pressure, the more spines will get in. The stronger they stick in, the more probable is the lethal outcome. If the spines penetrate deep into a limb, it'll be impossible to survive. This fact makes the stonefish one of the most dangerous fish in the world ocean as a whole. However, this does not stop some people who extract the stonefish venom by contacting the fish directly. A job for the bravest. The oceans, seas, and rivers are full of extremely dangerous, poisonous, and venomous creatures, but they're not the only dangers. You can also come across non-poisonous but very fierce sharks, man-eating catfish, vampire fish, or seawolf in the water. Stay tuned to see these creepy creatures. There's more to come. Galapagos shark. The Galapagos Islands are known primarily for their amazing turtles. Many people specifically go to the islands to see these reptiles. But few people know that the Galapagos Islands boast not only them but also very creepy sharks. The Galapagos shark has a large size and reaches a length of 3.7 meters. These fish are found not only in Galapagos Islands but also in many other regions of the Earth, from Bermuda and the Virgin Islands to Hawaii and Madagascar. Mostly, these sharks feed on bony fish and mollusks, but sometimes they can even eat sea iguanas and sea lions. And sometimes they can attack humans as well. This species is generally considered one of the most dangerous of all sharks because the Galapagos shark is extremely aggressive to humans. While in the water, it's almost unrealistic to fight it off with bare hands. It's better to have some kind of weapon, otherwise everything will end tragically. Catfish look quite cute and harmless. The reason for that is the funny catfish whiskers. But not all catfish can make you smile. For example, the flathead catfish, a creature from the rivers of North America, causes distrust and fear because it has a very bad reputation. This giant fish, reaching a mass of about 100 kilograms, is dangerous because it moves lightning fast to its prey. Upon catching the enemy, it settles its hash with all its enthusiasm. Many local residents believe that the flathead catfish is the real cannibal. Cases of strange disappearances of swimmers and fishermen have been reported in North America. The flathead catfish are believed to be to blame. It seems we have another reason never to go into rivers. The rivers of North America may be dangerous, but what if we go down south and transport ourselves to the rivers of South America? Would it be safe there? Unfortunately, no. South America in general is teeming with all kinds of dangerous creatures. And there are plenty of creepy fish, too. I won't talk about piranhas because you already know about them. I'd rather tell you about the payara. Is that a hard name to remember? Then how about vampire fish? That's a name you'll definitely remember. And this is quite an official nickname of the payara because it really is a vampire of the river world. Giant, sharp teeth literally protrude from the mouth of the fish and just want to burrow into someone. Dwelling in the Orinoco River Basin, as well as in the Amazon River Basin, vampire fish are horrible to local inhabitants. Even piranhas are afraid of them. After all, this fish has not only some sharp teeth but also an impressive weight. Some individuals weigh almost 20 kilograms. Not surprisingly, the vampire fish is considered one of the most dangerous in South America and in the world. And although this aggressive fish does not often attack people, some swimmers and fishermen have become victims of attacks by these toothy monsters. Seawolf. And lastly, we have another toothy monster. The Atlantic catfish is also known by another, more sonorous name, the seawolf. Should we expect anything good from a fish with that name? I don't think so. The name of the fish speaks for itself. The mouth of the seawolf is dotted with a number of sharp and strong teeth, and the jaw of the fish is incredibly powerful. These creatures are able to bite even the thick shell of crustaceans, which they eat, let alone a man. For the seawolf, it's not difficult to bite the skin of a swimmer, so after encountering this fish, you can't leave without being wounded. All of this is complicated by the aggressiveness and impetuosity of the fish, which makes it really very scary and dangerous. One pleasant fact, the seawolf lives in northern waters where a person still has to manage to find a comfortable place to swim, so people encounter these catfish not so often. Goblin shark. In fact, this creature has many different names: the goblin shark, Scapinorhynchus, or Mitsucarina. It's a deep-sea shark, the only surviving member in the Mitsucarinidae family of sharks. The goblin shark got its name for the bizarre appearance. snout of this shark ends with a long beak-like growth, and the long jaws can be extended far. Coloration is also unusual. Its color is close to pink as blood vessels shine through the translucent skin. The largest individual known to science reached a length of 12.4 feet and weighed 463 pounds. Until relatively recently, scientists thought this species was long extinct, but about a century ago the fish was caught and researchers became aware of the existence of this shark. The goblin shark has special receptors on its body, which the fish uses to track its prey. However, scientists still don't know what exactly these predators eat, because the moment the shark was lifted from the depths of the sea to land, it immediately turned its stomach inside out, getting rid of all of its contents. Black swallower. Many predatory fish, most of which are deep-sea dwellers, can boast of extraordinary voracity. It's not because of their greed and vicious appetite, but because of the limited food resources in the depths of the ocean. Therefore, if they encounter any prey on the way, it'll certainly be eaten, even despite its size. One such voracious fish is the black swallower, or Chiasmodon. The genus has only 7 species, but the most famous and widespread of them is the black swallower. It lives in tropical and subtropical waters of all oceans at a depth of 492 to 13,000 feet. Rarely, the length of this fish exceeds 6 to 8 inches, but thanks to its wide-open mouth, the black swallower is able to swallow prey that's much larger than its size. Scientists assume that the black swallower grabs its prey from behind and swallows it starting from the tail. In order to find prey in pitch darkness, black swallowers have a well-developed system of lateral line organs, like many other deep-sea fish. It picks up low-frequency vibrations of water, allowing the fish to determine the location of potential prey. Earlier black swallowers were thought to be rather rare inhabitants of the sea depths, but studies carried out in the second half of the 20th century proved the opposite. Scientists found that these fish are an important link in the food chain of tuna and marlins. Pelican eel. The pelican eel belongs to the Saccharopharyngiforms. It's also called the gulper eel or the pelican gulper. As you may have already noticed, the fish got its name because of its huge jaw and leathery sac on the lower part of its mouth, which helps it catch prey like a pelican does. The pelican eel has a mouth volume of up to 6.1 cubic inches, which is 11 times its body volume. Pelican eels inhabit the temperate and tropical belts of all oceans at great depths of 1,600 to almost 10,000 feet, and that's why they're poorly studied. Basically, the features can be judged from individual specimens accidentally caught in fishing nets. Pelican eels feed on crustaceans, fish, and squid. Although the enormous jaw and sac of pelican eels allows them to swallow prey several times larger than themselves, no prey longer than 4 inches was found in their stomachs. This means that the nutrition process of the pelican eel is not arranged like that of a pelican, but rather like that of a whale. Together with a small prey, it swallows the huge amount of water, which it then gradually gets rid of. Interestingly, the skin of the pelican eel is completely black and invisible not only to its prey but also to predators. Astranostes lucifer. It's hard to disagree that one name for the sea creatures in this episode is fancier than another. This fish is named Astranostes lucifer in honor of its large fangs across its jaw. It lives in the deepest depths of the ocean and is able to glow. Its main habitat is the waters between Australia and New Zealand. The fish has a glowing spur on its chin that attracts other fish. For this, Astranostes lucifer can be called a fish fisherman because it fishes using its offshoot and then eats the fish. At this point, the creature's not been researched enough, and there's very little information about Astranostes lucifer. Nevertheless, its creepy appearance is enough to make one not want to encounter it. Sea spider. Arachnophobes, if you decide to escape from the spiders chasing you on land directly into the water, I'll disappoint you. They exist even in the deepest and darkest place of the ocean. However, despite their outward resemblances, sea spiders are hardly related to terrestrial spiders. They're not even spiders, but a class of marine arthropods. They inhabit the seas, especially the Mediterranean and Caribbean, as well as the Arctic and Southern Oceans. Currently, science knows more than 1,000 species of sea spiders, which also includes several species at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the deepest point on the planet. Usually, individuals are from 0.03 to just 0.3 inches in size, but some species grow all the way up to 35 inches in length. Goonch. This is a truly frightening individual. Not only its size is frightening, but also the fact that this fish has been implicated in cases of human disappearances. It's not without reason that the goonch is also called the giant devil catfish. Because of unexplained human drownings, the Kali River, which flows in India and Nepal, has become notorious. It's believed that this devil catfish, which lives there, has acquired a strong taste for human flesh. And the reason could be the funerary custom of burning the bodies and throwing them into the river. However, feeding only on the dead may not be enough for it, so the goonch may attack living people and large livestock. Montauk Monster. In July 2008, an unknown creature was found on a beach in the Montauk district of New York City. This mystery of nature was called the Montauk Monster. Interestingly, the corpse of the unidentified animal soon disappeared, but all sorts of speculation still remained. To this day, no one can agree on what kind of monster it was and where it went. It had the body of a mammal, creepy flippers, and an incomprehensible predatory snout. Journalists originally claimed it was a mutated turtle without a shell. Some experts said that it was just the body of a raccoon swollen because of the water but without fur. It had either fallen out or been burned, and some theorists have suggested that it was a mutant that escaped from a nearby government research center. The Montauk Monster is the mystery to both the public and experts. Alligator gar. The alligator gar is a predatory fish that closely resembles an alligator. Its primary habitat is the lower Mississippi River. However, in the Eocene, its ancestors inhabited many bodies of water, which is why the alligator gar looks so archaic. The size of this fish is striking. It reaches 3 meters in length and weighs more than 130 kilograms. Usually it feeds on other fish, but it can even bite a young alligator with its sharp, needle-like teeth. Pacu. Even though the pacu fish is better known as a vegetarian piranha, its creepiest feature is still its teeth. Of course, these fish do not have sharpened fangs like the piara, but their teeth look just like human ones. Pacu use their teeth mainly to crush nuts and fruits that fall from trees in the Amazon River. But sometimes they also eat other fish and invertebrates. So vegetarian is not really about the pacu fish after all. Lamprey eels. These small river monsters live mostly in coastal and fresh waters. The lamprey eel is a very unusual inhabitant of the underwater world. In our usual sense, it doesn't really look like a fish. Externally, it looks more like a snake, a large worm, or an eel about 100 centimeters long, although it belongs to neither of them. Adults have large eyes, 1 nasal opening on the crown, and 7 gill slits near the head on each side. They have no scales or paired fins, but have 1 or 2 elongated dorsal fins close to the caudal fin. Their mouths are truly terrifying. Round mouths with aligned rows of sharp, inward-facing teeth are really creepy. Using the suction cup, the lamprey eel pulverizes its food with its teeth. That's a brutal way to kill the prey, isn't it? But there are river creatures that deal with their opponents even more brutally. Stay tuned to see them and learn even more about the world's most frightening river creatures. Bull shark. If you thought that swimming in a river and encountering a shark were incompatible, then I hasten to surprise you. An unpleasant encounter with this shark can occur in any of the oceans with the exception of the Arctic Ocean. These carnivorous predators often enter freshwater rivers, going high upstream for quite long distances. They can be seen at the mouths of major rivers such as the Ganges, Mississippi, and Zambezi, and even in small rivers in Asia, Africa, Australia, and the Americas. The bull shark is on a par with the great white shark and tiger shark, both of which are noted aggressor killers. The bull shark is considered one of the largest shark species. Females grow up to 3.5 to 4 meters in length, while the length of males is about 2.5 meters. Outwardly, the bull shark is lazy and slow, but that doesn't mean anything. The shark got its name for a reason. It's very unpredictable. It can calmly swim past and a second later violently rush at the unsuspecting victim, like a bull on a red rag. In addition, the shark's muzzle is quite wide, which gives it some resemblance to the bull. By the way, when attacking, the bull shark strikes a strong blow with its muzzle, or rather snout. The huge mouth with several rows of jagged teeth finishes the job quickly and brutally. The bull shark hunts on fish, dolphins, large invertebrates, small sharks, and even its relatives. It's quite capable of dragging a bull or a cow to the depth. Individuals of this species are often very accused of many bloody crimes against people. Arapaima gigas. Arapaima gigas, its other name is pirarucu, meaning red fish. It's red because of its red spots on the tail and because of its meat of a pinkish-orange hue. This amazing and very dangerous creature lives in rivers and lakes in South America and is considered one of the largest freshwater fish in the world. Pirarucu grow up to 2 meters in length, but some of the individuals of this species can reach a length of 3 meters. And according to some eyewitness accounts, in the nature, you can meet individuals which are up to 4.5 meters in length and even more. Once an individual was caught that weighed almost 200 kilograms. That's not bad for a fish. Interestingly, the scales of this fish are so strong that they're several times stronger than the bone tissue. Therefore, pirarucu has no problems in water bodies together with bloodthirsty piranhas, which, knowing about this advantage, don't even risk to look at pirarucu. Arapaima gigas uses not only oxygen extracted from water, but also atmospheric air oxygen. Once every 5 to 15 minutes, it needs to surface to take a breath. Its breathing pattern is unmistakable. When pirarucu rises to the surface, small whirlpools begin to form on the water surface, and then the fish itself appears in this place with a huge open mouth. So it lets out the old air, takes a new gulp, and then quickly closes its mouth and goes to the bottom. Arapaima gigas is a nimble and dangerous predator that feeds on small and medium-sized fish. It also attacks small mammals and birds that come down to the waterhole. Giant otter. You may think of most otters as cute creatures, but the giant otter is a different story. It's also called the giant river otter. These river predators live in the Amazon forest. Giant otters grow up to 2 meters in length and weigh more than 20 kilograms. These animals have a very bad temper. Giant otters hunt in packs, the number of individuals in which can reach 15 or even 20. Each group is led by an alpha female and an alpha male. For this reason, the giant otter is often called the river wolf. What's in the diet of these river monsters? First, all kinds of fish, including piranhas. By the way, each giant otter needs to eat up to 4 kilograms of fish daily. Secondly, the diet includes small birds, rodents, and snakes. In some cases, a large group of giant otters can cope with a lone caiman and even anaconda, the heaviest of all existing snakes on the planet. How are such cute-looking creatures able to do this? The secret of their success is simple: incredible fearlessness and teamwork. Even such formidable predators as jaguars have heard about giant otters' abilities and try not to mess with these creatures. Goliath tigerfish. African rivers are full of dangerous creatures, and this one's no exception. The giant tigerfish, or Goliath tigerfish, is a large, toothy, predatory fish that grows to 1.5 meters in length and weighs more than 50 kilograms. It got its name because of the horizontally arranged dark stripes on the back. The Goliath tigerfish is a very dangerous freshwater predator which combines the characteristics of all underwater monsters. Its reputation is similar to that of the bloodthirsty piranha. Its teeth are arranged like those of the piara, it can compete with the goonch catfish in terms of cunning, and it can compete with the pirarucu in terms of power and strength. Thanks to its impressive teeth, this river monster can easily attack crocodiles and even kill a man. Lionfish, stonefish, piara, bull shark. All these fish use a fairly standard technique to bite or poison. But the next animal of our episode prefers to use a more spectacular method. I'll talk about electric eels. Let's find out what these unusual creatures are capable of. Electric eel. What do you think would happen if a ferocious predator, say a caiman, a South American alligator, wanted to eat and chose an electric eel for dinner? Will it win? Will it get a huge discharge, or will it be much more disastrous for the willful and hungry caiman? Think about it. We'll come back to that question a little later. Electrophorus electricus, also commonly known as the electric eel, is a rather unusual fish. I would say even more than unusual, it's extremely dangerous. Can you imagine that an electric eel can generate a voltage of up to 860 volts and a current of up to 40 milliamperes? It's incredible, isn't it? The first detailed description was made in 1729. Naturalists did not immediately believe that it was electricity that struck the fish. It was assumed that electric eels in some mysterious way froze their prey. But in June 1772, a member of the Royal Society, John Walsh, proved that the electric eel uses electricity to stun their victims. But why do these animals have this ability at all? Why does an electric eel need voltage? First, the electric eel uses electrical discharges to attack, to paralyze or kill its prey, which mainly consists of small fish and other small animals. Moreover, the electric eel also uses its electrical superpowers as a method of aggressive defense. By the way, the discharge generated by the electrical organs of this fish can also be weak, up to 10 volts, which the electric eel uses for electrolocation, something similar to echolocation in bats. The average length of an electric eel is 1 to 1.5 meters, and the maximum length reaches 2.5 meters. They usually weigh up to 20 kilograms. What's interesting about the structure of electric eels is the electrical organs, which occupy about 4/5 of the body length. By the way, it'll be curious to compare an electric eel to an electric ray because it has a similar ability as well. Electric rays are common all over the world, but only in temperate and tropical waters. The amount of current generated by these rays varies from species to species. The Atlantic torpedo, for example, can produce discharges of 220 volts, but for most species this figure is much lower, ranging from 5 to 40 volts. Such is the difference with the electric eel. Is electric eel an eel? Despite the presence of the word eel in the name of the animal, and despite the external similarity, it is by no means a relative of the common European eel. The electric eel is a fish, which in fact is a member of the order Gymnotiformes, and it's more closely related to the catfish than to the European eel. The electric eel was previously thought to be the only species in the genus Electrophorus, but in 2019 2 more species were discovered classified in the genus. Electric eels inhabit northeastern South America, including the Amazon and Orinoco River basins. The usual ways of catching these creatures are extremely difficult because they tend to burrow deep into the silt of marshes and rivers. Therefore, there was a very unusual way to catch them. Fish with horses. This unusual method was first described in the diary by the German scientist Alexander von Humboldt. It happened in 1800. The famous naturalist, who made an expedition to Latin America, was literally fascinated by these mysterious creatures. He witnessed locals catching electric eels on live horse bait. So far, it sounds incomprehensible, but if you think about it, there wasn't much other ways at the time. The fishing was as follows. The horses were driven into the water and waited for the electric eels to jump out and attack. By treading on the muddy bottom with their hooves, the horses would frighten the fish, which in turn would attack and electrocute them. Thus, having exhausted all their charge, electric eels became easy prey. In general, as the naturalist wrote, fishermen assured that the discharge of even a large electric eel was not enough to kill a horse. However, in his diary, von Humboldt noted that after a few minutes, 2 horses still died, being in the water unconscious. So, how exactly do electric eels emit such powerful electric charges? What can happen to a person after such a powerful electric discharge? And will that caiman I mentioned in the beginning survive? Stay tuned to find out the answers to these questions. The best part is ahead. Fake or not? Von Humboldt's description of electric eels attacking horses was considered a telltale for many years. The attacking skills of these animals were thought to have been greatly exaggerated. However, not so long ago, biologist Ken Catania of Vanderbilt University in Tennessee, USA, has accidentally confirmed the correctness of Alexander von Humboldt. The scientist conducted a series of experiments. He placed electric eels in different tanks along with a rod to measure current. The fish attacked this rod, but not underwater but in the air in a jump. The electrical impulses emitted by the fish reached hundreds of volts, and the current strength was almost 1 amp. Catania also submerged replicas of a crocodile's head and a human arm in aquariums and observed similar results. The conclusion was simple. For an electric eel, it made no difference what creature to defend against. It attacked everything indiscriminately. such a dangerous electrical fiend. The scientists suggested that the aggressive behavior appeared in electric eels because they cannot avoid danger in most cases. Also, Catania tried to explain why electric eels make jumps despite the danger of such a strategy. All because a land predator may not dive into the water to catch an electric eel, and thus defense in the water is not entirely effective. The animal may simply wait until the fish uses up its electrical charge and grab it without harming itself, as has happened to horse hunters. How is the current obtained? An interesting fact is that, unlike its underwater congeners, the electric eel breathes not only oxygen dissolved in water, but also in atmospheric air. For this purpose, it has to surface every 15 minutes or even more frequently to breathe in the next portion of air. This is possible because of the large amount of a special kind of tissue of the mouth cavity punctuated with blood vessels. If the electric eel's access to atmospheric air is cut off, it'll start suffocating. So the entire body of an electric eel is covered with special organs that consist of special cells, electrocytes. These cells are sequentially connected with each other by means of nerve channels. In the front part of the body is positive charge, and in the back part is negative charge. That's why a so-called potential difference is formed. Weak electricity is formed at the very beginning, and passing sequentially from organ to organ, it gains strength in order to then hit the victim as effectively as possible. The electric eel generates discharges of varying strength by means of 3 types of electrical organs. As I said before, they occupy about 4/5 of the length of the fish. High voltages are generated by hunters and main organs, and small currents for navigational and communication purposes are generated by sax organ. The main organ and hunter's organ are located at the lower part of the electric eel's body, and sax organ is located in the tail. To date, few cases of human deaths after encountering an electric eel are known. Only large individuals can cause serious harm. The effect of the current of smaller individuals causes unpleasant and very painful sensations. Nonetheless, numerous electrical discharges can lead to respiratory or heart failure, which can cause a person to drown even in shallow water. Attacks. For example, this footage shows that after trying to touch the electric eel, the young man abruptly bounces back and clearly feels pain in his hand. Don't underestimate this fish. And here the curious dog clearly wanted a thrill, but how is it supposed to know that the creature in front of it was emitting some serious discharges? One electric discharge and the poor dog, whining, ran as far away as possible from this strange creature. And now, finally, back to the caiman, a powerful and ferocious predator. In this video, we see how the black caiman chose an electric eel as its prey and clearly missed out. Instead of dinner, it received hundreds of electrical discharges. It becomes paralyzed and begins to convulse. But since the electric eel takes some time to recharge, it saves the poor reptile's life. When it comes to its senses, the caiman immediately runs away from its unpleasant opponent. However, not everyone is so lucky, and if the predator wants an electric eel as a prey and goes ahead, as a rule it turns out badly for it. This reptile clung to the electric eel but got a lot of electrical shocks in return, which were fatal. You've already realized that in its unusual environment, the electric eel is quite aggressive. It can attack without warning even if there's no threat to it. If something living gets in the range of its force field, the electric monster will not hide or swim away. If an electric eel appears on the way, it's better to get out of the way. You shouldn't swim closer than 3 meters to it. This is the main range of the electric eel's force field. The electric eel's discharges are impressive, but let's talk about bigger creatures. Maybe take a look at the biggest ones. The blue whale and the sperm whale, 2 of the most famous whales on the planet and 2 very large creatures. How will they prove themselves in the confrontation? How will it all end, and what interesting things can be said about these animals? Unusual and fascinating facts about whales, as well as their confrontations, are further in our episode. Whale battle. A blue whale or a sperm whale? Sperm whales are large representatives of cetaceans and belong to the toothed whales. They can be found in any part of the world ocean. Males reach 20 meters in length and weigh up to 50 tons. Females are slightly smaller, up to 15 meters in length. Their body weight's about 20 tons. Sperm whales prefer to stay at depth. They move in large pods. These animals feed on cephalopod mollusks and search for food by echolocation. Sperm whales have a distinctive appearance. They have large, strong teeth and a massive rectangular head, which distinguishes them from other cetaceans. The head occupies nearly one-third of the body. Of all the Earth's inhabitants, sperm whales have the largest brain, weighing about 7.8 kilograms, which is about 5 times heavier than a human brain. Sperm whales have almost no enemies, except humans. However, females and young sperm whales can be attacked by orcas. If this happens during the mating season, males erect barriers between orcas on one side and females and young sperm whales on the other, giving the latter an opportunity to escape to a safe place. The blue whale is the largest animal on the planet. Like the sperm whale, it's found almost everywhere except the polar regions. The largest individuals are found near Antarctica. The male blue whale grows to 33 meters in length, and its weight reaches 150 tons. A blue whale's tongue alone weighs as much as an adult Indian elephant. The heart weighs about as much as a Mini Cooper. Blue whales are toothless, so unlike sperm whales, they eat krill and small sea crustaceans, consuming them in huge quantities. The crustaceans get stuck on the upper palate, and water is expelled through the blowhole. A whale can eat up to 40 million crustaceans in a day. Like sperm whales, blue whales have virtually no enemies except, again, humans. And they themselves, despite being considered carnivorous, in general demonstrate a rather peaceful nature. Well, assuming that a sperm whale and a blue whale had to fight, what creature would emerge victorious? Let's see. Judging by body size, blue whales clearly have the advantage. They're about twice as big as sperm whales. However, sperm whales have more predatory behavior and have large teeth. It must be said that they rarely use them in battles or during meals, as they prefer to swallow their prey whole. However, a sperm whale may try to attack a young blue whale. If the mother of this young whale is close by, it'll do everything to protect the offspring. For example, it might strike with its tail and stun the enemy. Sperm whale may try to evade the blow, swim up from below or behind and grab the female by the tail. Its teeth may leave marks on the whale's skin, but it's too thick to bite through it. Blue whales do not tend to attack other animals, but sperm whales are more aggressive. What do you think? What creature would win in such a battle? A sperm whale or a giant blue whale? Share your guesses in the comments and stay tuned to see the most interesting and unusual moments and battles involving different whales. At the epicenter of the drama. This unique footage was taken by Karim Elia, a professional photographer who explores underwater and terrestrial fauna. The photos show a young humpback whale. The photo was taken in the area of the islands of the Vava'u archipelago, belonging to the Kingdom of Tonga. Karim recalls that the young whale was friendly and did not show any aggression. However, during another underwater photo shoot, the photographer almost got in the middle of a real whale showdown. While submerged in water, he saw 4 large humpback whales coming out of the depths towards him. 2 of them separated from the group and began to crash into each other, striking each other with their tails and bodies. The tail of one of them passed literally within a few meters of the photographer. It's frightening to imagine what would have happened if the blow had hit him, but he still managed to take a few pictures. Karim realized that even with a surge of aggression, the whales barely lost sight of him and did everything not to harm him. The photographer was once again convinced of how intelligent and emotional whales are, and that they're generally friendly to humans. Female protects babies from males. This female gray whale is traveling with its baby. Its task is to get with the young whale to a safe place. There are many dangers along the way. The baby can become a victim of orcas or get caught under the propeller of a ship. Also, a serious threat is the males that periodically come here in search of females. This female's been confronted with 2 such males. However, it's not in its plans to take on a romantic partner. Its task is to get the baby to its destination safe and sound, as the males, weighing about 30 tons, could easily kill or maim the baby. The males begin to pursue the female. It pushes the baby away and tries to cover it with its body. The males use their body and fins as weapons. The young whale is already exhausted, but the female is larger and stronger than these males. In the end, it manages to chase the males away and escape the chase with the baby. Orcas versus sperm whale. One day a group of researchers, while in the open sea, noticed a strange movement on the surface of the water. Getting closer to the scene of events, they saw several orcas which appeared to be attacking a sperm whale. Orcas are known to be quite vicious predators, and one must be extremely careful with them. But one of the researchers still decided to take a risky step. Wearing a scuba, he dives to observe what's happening from the depths. He had to swim closer. At this time, one of the orcas separated from the main group and made a movement in his direction. The explorer felt an echolocation pulse with his whole body. The animal approached the man, intently looking at him, but there was no hostile action on its part. Obviously, the orca was convinced that the person was not a threat and it was not suitable as food. The group was never able to find out what happened to the attacked sperm whale, whether it managed to escape from the enemies or whether it was eventually killed. Whales rescue a baby whale from orcas. Here we see a baby whale left without its mother. It's completely defenseless and could fall prey to predators at any moment. It's not even out of the age when whales feed on their mother's milk. And so it fell into the field of vision of several orcas, and they immediately rushed in its direction. Orcas are very violent predators and will not miss an opportunity to attack a defenseless victim. Here they catch up with it and try to drag it under the water. And suddenly, as the case was moving toward a tragic denouement, something unimaginable happens. Several humpback whales come to the baby's rescue. Approaching the scene, they begin furiously beating the water with their huge tails, confusing the predators. They use their powerful pectoral fins to strike their enemies. Such behavior is atypical for humpback whales because in the wild they usually avoid encounters with killer whales. Scientist Craig Matkin, who's been observing whales for more than 30 years, said that he saw such a phenomena for the first time. However, a few years earlier, a similar case was noted in Antarctica when a humpback whale saved a seal from orcas. These events indicate that some cetaceans, particularly humpback whales, are capable of feeling compassion. Orcas. Everyone knows that the lion is the king of the jungle, but it can fall prey to a clan of hyenas. The eagle is the king of birds, but at night it's a perfect target for owls. What about orcas? They've done so much that it seems they're unequaled and there's no one to control them. Indeed, orcas are skilled and cruel predators. They attack in groups, bite their prey from all sides, and beat it with their tails and fins until it's exhausted. Even the blue whale, which is much larger than orcas, prefers not to mess with them. However, orcas most often attack baby whales, particularly humpback whales, as you've already seen. Therefore, whales often protect babies of a species other than their own. Orcas also attack sharks, and yet there are whales that can give a decent fight to orcas. I'm talking about sperm whales. Sperm whales weigh a lot and have strong teeth, so orcas prefer to watch out for adult male sperm whales. The great white shark is another worthy rival of orcas. It has huge, sharp teeth, which it can use to bite through the thick skin of killer whales. It's believed that the killer whale is only one of the few natural enemies of the great white shark. These animals attack sharks cooperatively. They force the sharks to rise to the surface, apply stun blows with their tail, achieve complete neutralization of the victim, and then kill it. When hunting, orcas use the most sophisticated methods. For example, when they see a seal on an ice floe, they'll do everything in their power to throw it off. They dive under the ice floe, trying to split it from the bottom. They also jump near it, creating high waves that can wash the victim into the water, where it immediately becomes prey to predators. It's noteworthy that orcas do not immediately kill the victim. Before that, they mock it in every way, throwing it high as a ball, playing with each other. Orcas stop at nothing if they need to catch their prey, and sometimes they dive themselves into a dead end. Sometimes, in pursuit of their prey, they throw themselves far out on the shore and can't get back into the water. They have to be brought back to the water by people if they're near, and if it's possible to involve special means to bring the heavy carcass back. Though orcas are quite smart and easy to train, they remain predators, and even experienced trainers and dolphinarium workers have to be extremely careful with them. Despite all the incredible abilities of killer whales and even their aggression towards people in captivity, many still consider them large and friendly representatives of dolphins. Speaking of dolphins, these pretty and intelligent creatures are also not as kind and simple as whales. Let's talk about the dark side of these smiling creatures. Help! Many people have heard that dolphins are true altruists and heroes from the world of marine fauna. History knows many cases when dolphins came to the aid of people and saved them from dangerous creatures. For example, from sharks. And indeed, it happened in 2007. Dolphins saved the surfer Todd Endress, who was attacked by a shark and bit him on the side and tried to throw him overboard. The dolphins then formed a barrier around the surfer and helped him to shore. There, the man was given first aid and soon recovered. But this case is rather an exception to the rule. Experts believe that, in fact, dolphins almost never help people. Either specially trained individuals demonstrate such heroism, or wild individuals in very rare cases do. For the rest, the dolphins can swim up to the drowning out of curiosity and even allow themselves to be grabbed with hands, but it will not be considered a rescue. Don't forget that dolphins are the animals driven by instinct. Only after making sure that the person is inedible, they leave them. And in the case when a person is drowning, dolphins can hasten the death, playing with the exhausted drowning person. By the way, concerning the cases of help and rescue, scientists believe that the matter here is not good intentions of dolphins, but the banal confrontation between dolphins and other sea inhabitants, in particular sharks. Sharks don't like dolphins and are even afraid of them, because dolphins are collective creatures and can kill any toothy predator in a pack. That's why when the sharks see the dolphins, they swim away, and this creates the feeling that the dolphins have saved the man. However, it can hardly be called the conscious help. Okay, let's say dolphins aren't really in the business of saving people, but does that make them horrible creatures? Of course not. After all, that's just one of the dark side of dolphins. The much more unpleasant part is that dolphins not only don't save people, they often hurt people. A dolphin can cause a person quite serious injury. There are several known cases when these animals have bitten people while feeding. Most likely they just mistook the outstretched hand with a live fish, but this is just a guess. The most famous case occurred at SeaWorld theme park in Florida. A baby dolphin bit the hand of a baby girl who was feeding it, causing a harmless but unpleasant injury. 8-year-old Jillian Thomas was standing near her parents feeding a fish to a dolphin. At one point, she raised her hand sharply and the dolphin bit her on the forearm. Luckily, it didn't hurt too badly. Jillian was lucky, since history knows the cases when dolphin attacks ended up much worse. For example, in 1994, one Brazilian dolphin personally sent 28 people to the hospital during its visit to the beach. In general, dolphins in the sea behave quite aggressively in relation to people. In their native environment, dolphins can easily attack humans. A man in a wetsuit looks like a competitor for a pack of dolphin hunting for the school of fish, so the dolphins can begin to push them away from the prey very rudely. In some cases, dolphins can push the swimmer almost into the open sea. Needless to say that such an attack is very dangerous for the swimmer. But dolphins are dangerous not only to humans or sharks, but also their own relatives. In the 1980s, scientists officially documented male dolphins aggressively harassing fertile females. The gruesome incident was documented in Shark Bay, Australia. According to scientists, the harassment begins when 2 or 3 males catch a female. The males furiously pounce on their chosen female and don't let it go. If the female tries to escape, the males swim swiftly after it. One of the observed cases of such a case lasted almost an hour and a half. Aggression of males toward females is expressed in stalking, tail bumping, head bumping, hitting, and biting. Also, males crash into females with all their might. Females often try to escape, but they manage to do it only in 25% of cases. Mostly, this behavior of male dolphins manifests during the breeding season when there's a fierce fight between them for females. However, harassment can continue even after the mating season. Scientists have confirmed this fact, which makes dolphins not in the best light. But even harassment's not the worst sin that dolphins commit. Their dark side surprises far more than you could ever imagine. Stay tuned for even creepier secrets and facts about dolphins that will make you reconsider your attitude towards these sea creatures forever. From 1991 to 1993, Dr. Ben Wilson and Dr. Harry Ross studied the bodies of dolphins discarded on the northeast coast of Scotland. The study revealed a very unpleasant detail about the dolphins. After examining the bodies, Wilson and Ross found scratches, bite marks, and internal organ damage. Initially, scientists thought that the animals were caught under the screw of the ship or in a tight fishing net. But after examining the bodies more carefully, they came to the conclusion that such marks could only be left by the teeth of relatives of the dead animals. This meant only one thing. The dolphins washed ashore in Scotland were the victims of other dolphins. Of the 105 animal bodies studied, 42 had serious injuries caused by other dolphins. This suggests that dolphins do not just attack each other, but do it very often. Babies and young dolphins. Still remember that female dolphins suffer from harassment? While the determined attempts of females to get rid of harassing dominant males may be a manifestation of another sinister truth about dolphins. Between 1996 and 1997, 37 young bottlenose dolphins were discarded on beaches in Virginia, USA. On cursory examination, they may have appeared fine, but autopsy revealed severe blunt force injury. Scientists found injury to the head, chest, fractures, contusions, and a number of other injuries. In addition, they found that adult dolphins were to blame for the deaths of the young. One scientist observed several behavioral events labeled baby tossing in coastal waters off Virginia Beach. Baby tossing is a way for adult males to get rid of unrelated and sometimes even related babies. Scientists believe there's a direct reason for this. After the birth of its offspring, the female loses interest in mating and concentrates entirely on taking care of the baby. Only the loss of a baby can revive the interest in mating, and it's this creepy way male dolphins use for their own purposes. Speaking of mating, there's another dark surprise in the mating behavior of dolphins that's been revealed relatively recently. In 2004, a study of heritability within a population of dolphins in Shark Bay revealed that these mammals occasionally practice sexual intercourse between kin. For example, scientists observed a male known as BJA. It became a father in 1978. Scientists estimate that 15 years later, in 1993, it mated with its own offspring. In addition, scientists later observed males grooming their mothers in a group of 3 partners. All this could be put down to exceptions to the rule or rare cases, but the statistics are disappointing. According to a study of scientists that was published in 2010, the incidence of incest in a particular population of dolphins is higher than a random value. This means that dolphins intentionally and regularly practice consanguineous intercourse. Every new fact and study about dolphins makes me feel more and more uncomfortable. Let's end this video with a less creepy detail about these sea creatures. This detail concerns the dolphin's smile. I'm sure you're all aware of the fact that dolphins smile kindly all the time. And if you've been to the oceanariums and all the performances with the dolphins, you've definitely seen the smiles of these mammals and all the details. You should know that dolphins don't actually smile. Although dolphins can be happy and sad, they don't possess human facial expressions. The muzzle of the majority of dolphin species is arranged in such a way that the lower jaw protrudes forward, and due to this it visually seems that the animal always has a wide smile. This feature makes dolphins cute and outwardly attractive. But in fact, an angry dolphin attacking a human will have exactly the same facial expression as one that entertains visitors at the dolphinarium. Remember the dolphin bodies washed up on the Scottish coast? They looked, to put it mildly, unpleasant. But sometimes the sea presents much stranger surprises. A chimera with a long nose and wings, a creature that went extinct millions of years ago, a two-headed sea snake, and a spooky catch are further in this episode. Last year, 2 Canadian fishermen from Templeman showed their very unusual catch. According to the men, they cast their nets to a depth of 800 meters and were shocked to see what they managed to catch at such a depth. One of the fishermen, Harry Goodyear, said he'd never seen anything like this in his life. He and his companion were able to catch an incomprehensible creature resembling a large fish with wings and a huge nose. Goodyear admitted that he first mistook the creature for a platypus because of its large snout. Eventually, the man brought the strange creature to the fish factory on the pier, but they couldn't help him to identify the sea monster. No one there had ever seen anything like it before. Then Harry posted pictures of the sea monster on Facebook for the users to see. They confessed that they'd also never seen anything like it before and added that the sea monster frightened them with its appearance. In the end, the man did manage to find out what kind of deep-sea monster he'd caught. It turned out that this was a long-nosed chimera. This creature's not yet very well studied because of its deep-sea habitat. The fisherman found out that the fish has a venomous spike on its back, which it uses to defend itself. This turned out to be a real shock to the man, as he and his buddy had picked it up with his bare hands. The fisherman also added that he didn't want to come across anything like that again. The resurrection of the coelacanths. In 1938, off the coast of Africa, East London Museum official Marjorie Courtney noticed a strange creature with dense scales and unusual fins in the catch of local people. The woman didn't immediately realize that she'd rediscovered the coelacanth, a fish that scientists thought had disappeared from the face of the Earth in the late Jurassic period. After this accidental find, several same fish were found in several other areas of the Indian Ocean. The dinosaurs' contemporaries live at great depths, so a further observation was organized by remotely operated vehicles, or bathyscaphes. In 2000, the coelacanth was first filmed by divers, and 10 years later, researchers went to South Africa to film the colonies of these fish living in Sodwana Bay. Studying the scales, scientists made an unexpected discovery. It turned out that the coelacanths belonged to a number of sea-long livers. Along with Greenland sharks, whales, and sebasts, they can live up to 100 years. The long lifespan means that all major life stages of the coelacanths are extremely slow. Scientists believe that these fish do not reach adulthood until they're 40 years old. At the same time, their gestation period is about 5 years. Alas, this rate makes them particularly vulnerable to various harmful phenomena, such as climate change or overfishing. Today, African coelacanths are on the brink of extinction. Only a few hundred are believed to remain in the wild. Two-headed porpoise. It's known that both humans and animals can be born with certain mutations. One of the most famous and at the same time mysterious features is the mutation of Siamese twins. According to various estimates, it occurs in one case out of 200,000 humans. At the same time, there are well-known cases of Siamese twins among domestic and laboratory mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish. However, this feature is rarely recorded among wild mammals, particularly whales and dolphins. Only a few such cases are known in the entire history of observations. Most likely, this is because the vast majority of Siamese twins die before or immediately after birth. In June 2017, a rare case of a two-headed porpoise was documented. Unfortunately, marine biologists were unable to fully study the rare creature, as Dutch fishermen who found it in their nets returned it back to the North Sea, fearing that keeping such a creature would be illegal. According to them, the animal was no longer showing signs of life at the time of discovery. Nevertheless, the fishermen managed to take several pictures of the two-headed creature before returning it back to the sea. Ancient shark. In 2015, Australian fishermen caught a rare fish belonging to an ancient species of frilled shark. After examining the catch, the fishermen found that the shark's body was about 2 meters long. In its mouth, Australians counted 300 teeth arranged in 25 rows. It was the first time the ancient shark has been sighted in Australian waters, according to the Southeastern Fisheries Association. The frilled shark was first discovered by German ichthyologist Ludwig Dotterlein during his visit to Japan in 1879 to 1881. The fish lives at depths of up to 1,500 meters in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The basis of its diet is squid, so the living fossil does not pose a threat to humans. This species originated about 95 million years ago. The fish looks like a mixture of snake, eel, and shark. By the way, the whole period of existence of the species, the appearance of individuals of this species hasn't changed. That's all for today. Which creature from this episode struck you the most? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.